Okay, today we're talking about the strategy that we're using to pick up cash flowing rental properties without getting into debt, without putting large down payments down. Sandwich rent to own is a strategy that we're using today to pick up properties, and we're going to go into deep detail on how you can do that in your own business as well. This is something if you're a wholesaler, you're just wholesaling properties, and all you do is a cash offer or maybe a realtor, you're listing properties. There's some deals that come across that maybe you want to stay in the middle of because it makes sense, because it cash flows and maybe there's some equity in the deal. And this is the strategy that we use, or we're going to go over in deep detail today. So the wholesale rent to own, what that is basically you have a rent. If you ever rented a property before, you have a lease agreement for a certain number of years, right? And then rent to own is basically you also have an option to purchase for a certain number of years. So you have a rental agreement plus you have an option to purchase agreement, and then the option to purchase locks in your price today. So for example, let's say you got a deal for $2,000 a month for the next 3 years, and your purchase price is 200,000. So you have the right to purchase that home within the next 3 years. You basically control the equity, you control the cash flow. So if the property does appreciate to 250,000, then you just got 50,000 in equity. So how we approach that with rent to own is that we always lead with like the cash offer. And if that doesn't work, we'll make a sandwich rent to own offer. So we always run our wholesale numbers. Because the sandwich lease option is going to be based. So if you guys watched my training last week, if you guys go into the Facebook group, go into the guide section, I did training last week on how to get after rehab value and how to get repairs. You're going to use that as well for the sandwich rent to own offer. You need to know how to get after rehab value, how to get repairs, so that you can make also the right sandwich rent to own offer. I'm not going to get into deep detail on after rehab value today because I went over that last week, or the how to get repairs. But we're going to touch on it a little bit. But you do need those numbers after rehab value and repairs to get an accurate sandwich rent to own offer. So sandwich lease options can make you a fortune, but like with any good deal, it's how you structure it up front, how how much equity you get up front, how much cash flow you get up front. A lot of times this is a second offer we make after the cash offer if maybe the cash offer doesn't work for them. So this is basically how we negotiate it. So this is how you can pick up rental properties without owning them. Mr. Seller, would you be willing to rent your house for maybe a 3 to 5 year lease? If yes, are you also willing to maybe sell your house during, in that time frame if we could agree on a price today? So if they say yes to these two questions, they automatically agree to the concept. They're open to the concept of rent to own. So if they say yes to these two questions, if you're looking for, if you're okay with a long-term lease, if you're okay with maybe selling it, if we agree on a price today, if they say yes to those two questions, then right away they say, yes, I'm interested in rent to own. So at that point, we say, hey, if you're local, I say, hey, when can I meet you at the property? Because they're already open to the concept. All we need to do is next, what we're going to talk about is negotiate the price and the rent and the terms. So if they say yes, great. I'm interested in renting your house and purchasing it in a few years down the line. This is something called you can call it like a corporate rental or corporate rent to own. Are you familiar with corporate rentals? This is something where, a company, a business rents your place from you, and they'll basically purchase it from you a few years down the line. Basically guaranteeing the rent. If there's a tenant in there, we're going to pay the rent. Of course, there's a tenant going to pay the rent, or if there's no tenant in there, the company pays their rent if it's vacant. So it's like they're getting a guaranteed rent coming in, right? So corporate rental is appealing to landlords because a corporation is backing a monthly payment. So if it's vacant or occupied, we guarantee the rent payments. Our corporation also would take care of repairs under 200 per month. Sometimes we do 300 per month. So you're not taking care of all the little maintenance repairs most landlords take care of. So this is like something, words we say up front to landlords. Also, if we can agree on a price with our company today, then we would like to lease the property from you for maybe up to 3 years, up to 5 years, and then purchase the property from you. Is this something you'd be interested in? Again, if they say yes, automatically, this is a hot lead. This is someone, they say yes to these two questions. This is someone I consider a super hot lead. I would go to the house, make an appointment, meet the seller at the home. And then we're gonna talk about, once they agree to the concept, what do you need to negotiate? How do you negotiate with them, and how do you do all this? So we're gonna get into the negotiation points on sandwich rent to own. And basically what we're trying to do here is get equity and get some cash flow. That's the reason you stay in the middle of a sandwich rent to own. If there's no equity and no cash flow, next week we're going to talk about the wholesale rent to own offer, which is you just assign it for a down payment. But today we're talking about the one where you stay in the middle of the deal, where you're actually going to be in the middle and cash flowing the house and also controlling the equity in the property. So you need to come up with your offer price, rent, the amount of rent you're going to pay per month, the terms, how long it's going to be, and the down payment. I'm also going to talk about negotiating repairs and rent credits. So this is just the basic formula of how the sandwich rent to own offer works. Okay, so last week we went in deep detail about after rehab value. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about that, but that number that you used to get your wholesale cash offer, we're gonna get that same after rehab value and use it in our sandwich rent to own offer. So instead of taking 70% off ARV or 75% off of ARV, sandwich rent to own, we can offer a little higher. The max I would say is 85% minus repairs. If minus repairs is a purchase price offer. Again, how to get ARV, we talked about that last week in deep detail. And today we're at the end of this, we're also going to go and just go into a property live and comp it live and come up with the offer live here on this call. So you see how it's done. Okay, but example is, let's say after rehab value is 200,000 and maybe in great shape, but you could use some updating to make it look like the highest sold comparables in the area. So the property may need 20,000 in rehab. And again, last week I talked about how to get the estimated rehab numbers, ballpark estimate on rehab numbers. So your offer price should be in this scenario 200,000 times 85%. If you multiply 200,000 times 0.85, you get 170,000 minus rehab needed 20,000, which comes up to 150,000 as your max offer. So your purchase price offer is 150,000 for this as a max offer, right? So that this number is your max. So let's say you can get the owner down to 120, 110, 100,000. In that situation, that's you're getting them lower than your max, so it's a hot lead, right? So you need to know your max offer on price. You're going to need to know your max offer on the rent as well. So we're going to comp the property live after this just to show you how it's done step by step. I want to make sure my live's still going. And the next most important number is the rent, right? Hey, what's up, Noel? How you doing, man? You have to determine the rent for your property. We like to use rentalmeter.com. It's a paid service. It's about $100, $100 a year. For our members, you guys get that service and log in for that. Right. Well, all you gotta do is plug in the address, plug in the beds, and it's gonna come up with the average market rent. So let's say market rent for the property you're looking at is $2,000 a month. You're gonna take 25% off of that, which is $1,500 will be your max offer for rent. And again, this would be your max offer. So if you can get them down to $1,200, $1,100 a month, $1,000 a month, that's a hot lead. That's something that you should try to stay in the middle for a long time, right? Get the homeowner to tell you what he wants first in price and rent. Some of these deals, we don't have to negotiate with them. Some of them are good deals right off the bat. Like, we've gotten some really good sandwich rent to owns from properties listed on Zillow for rent, and the number for rent was already a good deal. Like, for example, they put it on the market for 1,600 when we see that market rent's like 2,200. So if you see that, that's a super hot lead. So we try to, meet the owner at the property right away. We try to, if you're doing it virtual, you want to call the owner right away and try to make an offer over the phone right away. Or if you're local nearby, you want to call the owner and maybe set an appointment to meet the owner as soon as possible. So get the homeowner to tell you the price first and the rent. Because, what if your max offer is 150 and then, you're about to offer 140 and then the owner really wants only 120, right? So it's important that you do that. The next thing, negotiate a term. So how long is the lease? How long is the term, right? So goal is, if you're gonna stay in the middle, the longer the better. So if you can get it for 3 years, 5 years, that's good, that's great. But if you can get it for like 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, that's even better, right? Because you're going to be able to, of course, market cycles go up and down, but of course, the longer you hold it, the more likely it's going to appreciate, right? But if you can get a lease for 3 to 5 years, and it makes sense, always think, if I can get it longer, the better. And what you want to do when you're negotiating with owners is, hey, if they won't come down on the price by 10, 20 grand, see if, instead of 3 years, they'll do a 5-year term, right? Let's say if they don't come down on the rent, then try to give them down on the price. So always try to, if they're not giving in on something, try to lower them down on something else, right? And we've had rent to owns where we had it for like 10 years. We've had rent to owns for 7 years, 6 years. Does it make sense to do a rent to own for 1 year, 2 years? Only if maybe you got a smoking deal with, you're walking into like 50 grand of equity right away, 60 grand of equity right away. Maybe in that situation, it's okay to do a 1 year term. You're going to control the deal for 1 year. And once you have the, the paperwork signed, you have the rent to own, guess what? You can now sell the house, put it on the market. You can rent to own it to someone else. You can, put it on Airbnb and for sale at the same time. So there's a lot of things you can do when you have control of the property. And if you look at all the biggest companies, Amazon, Uber, Lyft, they control everything. They don't own anything, right? So here, the same concept. We're controlling the property. We don't own it, and we're controlling the equity. We're controlling the cash flow. And the next thing you want to negotiate, which is important, is a down payment. Negotiate down payment to be only 1 month's rent, or you can try to do 0 down. When you resell to a tenant buyer, you're trying to get at least 5% of the down payment, creating a spread in the down payment. So depending on your exit strategy and what you're going to do with it, like I said, you can turn it into an Airbnb. If you turn it into an Airbnb, you're going to have to invest into furniture costs, right? You're gonna have to invest money into that. If you do turn around and try to sell it right away, you may have to invest a down payment, right? If you turn around and do a rent to own, the goal to another person, which is what a true sandwich rent to own is, then your goal is to get the down payment from the rent to own buyer, so you don't have to come up with anything out of pocket, creating the spread in down payment. So for example, you give the owner 2,000, maybe 4,000 down payment, and then you go and resell the property for a $10,000 down payment, right? So you just created $6,000, $8,000 up front in a spread in your down payment, right? Some lease options, you get paid up front from the down payment, you get paid from monthly cash flow, and you can get paid from the back end equity when you actually sell it. So there's 3 ways to get paid in these type of deals, right? Now, once you get the contract signed, again, you have many options. You can do a true sale rent to own, find another tenant buyer to lease it at a higher price, higher rent, higher down payment. You can basically just sell the property right away. So in our contracts that we have with the owners, it says that we have the right to sell it right away. So we can get it under contract at 200,000 today. And if you know the retail value is 240, maybe you want to put it on the market right away for sale. And again, we do a recorder option on title and making sure that when it does sell, that we're going to get paid. Or you can turn it into a vacation rental, like I said, where instead of making maybe 500 a month in cash flow, it's now making 2,000 a month in cash flow because you turn it into a vacation rental, like an Airbnb. Um, we've done it where we've done a vacation rental at the same time as we listed it for sale. So we got like a super hot deal. There's 40,000 in equity, and we know the Airbnb is going to make like 1,500 to 2,000 a month. We'll put it on the MLS right away for sale. So if it sells, we can make 40,000 in profit. If it doesn't sell, we're making 2,000 a month in cash flow at the same time. So it's this strategy is basically it's like you own the house, right? And the reason we do sandwich rent to own in Illinois, in Chicago, Illinois area is I know a lot of people do subject twos, owner financing. We've tried that, and we've closed maybe six, I don't know, 6, 7 deals and contracted maybe 100 plus subject twos. And what happened is usually the attorney from the seller or the attorney from the buyer kills it because they don't understand how the deal works. So a lot of them will say, hey, there's a due on sale clause. This is illegal. You can't do that. And it is legal. You can't do it. The due on sale clause says that the lender may call the loan due. It doesn't say anything about this being illegal. You can't do it. And we've done subject twos, but sandwich rent to own is so much easier because the owner usually the owners understand how rent to own works, because a lot of people leased a car and eventually purchased it. A lot of people lease the property, they understand how that works. So attorneys understand rent to own, sellers understand rent to own, the title is not transferring, so there's no due on sale clause. So this is a great strategy. If you want to pick up properties, put them on the market right away, pick up vacation rentals, or do a true sandwich rent to own where you stay in the middle and then rent to own to someone else. Make sure you record your option on title. So as soon as you get the deal, you do want to do like a preliminary title check, making sure that the title is clean, making sure that if you're purchasing it for 200,000 and then they owe 300,000, of course that doesn't work. So you should do a title check with your title company. If you don't have you should have an attorney in Chicago where you can just send them the deal and say, hey, can you do a title check on this? And if there is a mortgage, you want to pay the mortgage directly. So for example, let's say that you agree to $2,000 a month, right, in rent, and the mortgage is 1,500 a month. So what you want to do if you're doing it with the owner, get the wiring information or the how to pay the bank directly, the 1,500, and then you get the owner's information on how to send them the other 500, so that you're making sure that the mortgage is getting paid for sure, because sometimes the owner will keep the rent and then don't pay the mortgage because maybe something happened in the family, they can't pay the mortgage anymore. So you want to pay the mortgage directly, which is going to make sure that the owner is not going to default on the mortgage while you have the option to purchase, right? And then some other things we negotiate in is repairs. I talked about that a little bit. We usually do about 200 to 300 per month. Anything over that goes to the owner. If you do a true sandwich rent to own, typically we pass this repairs on to the rent to own buyer. And then rent credits, usually we try to get at least 10% of the rent goes towards the purchase price. And this is cool about rent credits is, a lot of times we're negotiating with the owners and they're not budging on the price, they're not budging on the rent. A lot of times we can just say, hey, instead of a 10% rent credit, I want a 30% rent credit. I can give you the price you want. I can give you the rent you want. What's cool is that, we've had some deals where we got like a 50% rent credit where I know some people that did 100% rent credit. So if you get 100% rent credit, that means every time you pay the rent, that entire 2,000 a month pays the principal down. So if you're paying 2,000 a month every month, you know, for a year, that's 24,000 going towards the principal, going towards the purchase price. So you throw this in negotiating, when you're negotiating a sandwich rent to own, and we've gotten some deals where we got like 50% rent credits, which is way better than a mortgage. 'Cause if you guys ever seen your mortgage statement, you know, for the year you're paying, you're literally like paying like uh 2 or 3% towards the purchase price if you're looking at an actual mortgage. So if you get a rent credit of 10% or even more, it's paying the principal down more than the actual mortgage in the first, you know, 7 years or so. So what I want to do is look at a couple let's just go into some properties live and then see what we come up with as far as offers, right? So how do you actually find, how do you actually do rent to own deals, right? So let's just go into maybe a property I'm aware of already. So let's say this lead came in, you're analyzing it, you made the cash offer, maybe that cash offer was just way too low, and now you're going to make the sandwich rent to own offer. And typically the rent to own offers, properties are in pretty good shape, pretty good, you know, these are properties, if you're gonna do a sandwich rent to own, treat it like, hey, is this a property I really want to stay in the middle of? Right? Maybe you're not comfortable in that neighborhood. Because if you're getting like a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year lease, this is a property that you have to be comfortable being in, right? So especially if you're the one, you know, you're the one going to be going to the property, renting it out, doing the Airbnb, or trying to find the buyer. So make sure it's an area that you want to stay in the middle of. If it's not, then next week, we're gonna talk about the wholesale rent to own, where you just assign this, you can assign this contract for just like a down payment and just walk away from the deal, okay? So this property is like I know it's like a 3-unit building. It's in the Portage Park neighborhood. Or is it in Belmont Creek? Let me see. Kelvin Park area. So 60641 zip code. So what we do is we go into Redfin, and if you don't have Redfin, you can do Zillow if you don't have Redfin in your area. Usually Zillow is there, and this property is located right off of Belmont and was that Cicero? Yeah, Belmont and Cicero. So it's probably right around here. Belmont is right down here. And I'm gonna remove that outline. What I want to do is try to stay within like a half mile to a mile to get after rehab value. So what we're doing is, again, from last week, what's important is that get after rehab value and get the repairs, the two numbers you need to make your offer on the sandwich rent to own, and also the same thing as wholesaling. So what I'm going to do is search all the multifamilies, because this is a multifamily. This property has 1,600 square feet. So typically I do about, you know, we're searching sold in the last 6 months. And then we do about a 15% higher, and then like everything under. So we're looking at maybe 1,700 and under. There's not too many comps here, so we have to, if there are not too many comps, things that you can do is zoom out. So instead of a half mile, you're about a mile away. Sort by price, highest to lowest. But I know this property 792 is in a way better neighborhood. That's like maybe Avondale. So is that one. What's cool about Redfin is that you can type in the neighborhood. I'm gonna type in Belmont Gardens. And then see what's sold in the last 6 months. Multifamily. What you could do as well is like if you're not finding comps, maybe up with the square footage a little bit. Another maybe so things you do when you can't find the comps are instead of 6 months, go back a year. Instead of half mile, go back a mile. Instead of 10% to 15% plus on the square footage, maybe go a little bit higher, right? So I'm about a mile away with I added a little bit of square footage. And I just know the properties crossing Pulaski's, like they're gonna be in a totally different neighborhood. So we're gonna use this comp here at 335, of course. This is like the only one in the neighborhood. And then we're going to see what we find. So the closest one is this 408 on Addison. And then this 171, I'm sure it's like a total rehab. Yeah, that needs a lot of work. So the next closest one that's like in the Belmont Cragen neighborhood. Let me see if this Belmont Cragen. Yeah, I mean it's like right in the Belmont Cragen here. So the only comps I could use, which I don't like to use comps it's a little bit further away, but you can only use the comps that you can find, right? So these 350 is a little bit further away, 336 and the 384. So these are the comps that are sold in the last 6 months. They could be a little bit over a mile, they're just about a mile away. And they are multifamily, they're about similar square footage. So how to get the ARV, this is what you gotta do is find the comps that sold recently. And if you look at comps and you're in about half mile, like right here, and you see 6, 7, 8 really good comps, like right here, I don't see nothing. Then you don't zoom out, stay there, right? Use the comps that are there. I only zoom out when I don't have comps, right? So here we're just gonna get the average, right? So we have a 335, we have a 408, we have a 3. So I lost connection. So we're gonna get the average of these four to come up with our ARV. So 336 plus so usually I can do the average in my head. So 336, 350, 408, 335. So I would say you're probably looking at around 350 ARV. So what you do is you take these four, you add them together, 335, 408, 350, and 336. So about 357 is the ARV, right? So the formula was 85 for a sandwich rent to own is 85% of ARV, right? Minus rehab costs. So we take the 357 times 0.85, and then we get 303. And then you want to subtract out the rehab, right? So 34, this property um is in good shape. It's already fully rented out, about $3,000 a month coming in. So, we want to take a look at the pictures of these comps and see how much, what's the condition of the comps, and we base our rehab based upon the condition of the comp. So basically, this property looks about the same condition as the property we're looking at. It's this is not fully rehabbed. It's rent ready. It looks like it's in good condition. This needs a lot of work here. So this part. But if we look at all the comps here, we're gonna probably see almost the same thing. It's not a full gut rehab. They're not. They look just like they're rent ready, good shape. So my property is the same, basically the same condition as these comps. They're, it's not a brand new, these are not brand new rehabs, of course, you can tell by the pictures. So if it's in the same condition, we don't take off any rehab, right? But let's say these comps were brand new kitchens, brand new bathrooms, modern, not lived in. If that's the case, then we would have to add maybe a cosmetic rehab to the property, $20 a square foot, right? So I would say this is a zero rehab. And what we do again is what we talked about last week on how to get rehab is $40 a square foot for a total gut means interior and exterior need a total gut rehab, 30 just for the interior gut rehab, 20 for a cosmetic rehab. So in this case, my property, if the properties were fully rehab in great condition with brand new kitchens and bathrooms, I would have to do this to that one, right? $10 is maybe just paint and floors. It's a great condition. It just maybe needs paint and floors. And then zero is like this one. When I see the comps, the same condition as mine, we're gonna go with a zero rehab cost. So if anyone has any questions about that, let me know. So this property, I know I didn't show any pictures here, but I already know the condition of the home. So this is zero rehab. So our purchase price on this is 303. And of course, that's the 85%. And then of course you want to try to get a down payment. So let's say I want to make a $10,000 wholesale fee or assignment fee or down payment. My max cash offer on price is 293. So now I know when I go to negotiate with this owner, I have one number, I have price, right? So I have after rehab value. We do 85% because this is a sandwich rent to own. We're gonna stay in the middle of the deal, so we want some equity in the deal. So the only reason you do a sandwich rent to own is because there's equity. If there's no equity, then you don't want to stay in the middle of the deal, right? And the next thing we do is the rent, right? So the next thing we need to know our maximum allowable rent offer. So I already know that this property, from talking to the owner, it's already fully rented out for $3,000 a month. But what I want to know is what is the actual market rent? I like rentalmeter.com. You guys can use Zillow for members in my partnership. You guys, you get access to this. You don't have to pay for it, but it's about 100, I think $100 a month. So I know this property is a 2-bed, 1 bath, and it's actually 3 units. So we're gonna go and look at, plug in the address, plug in beds, baths, and then it's apartment. So we're gonna see what we're gonna get. So we're at about 1276. So I can average up. So the rent would be 1,300 times 3, right? So that's going to be $3,900 a month in rent. So he's getting 3,000 a month in rent. So I know he's $900 low in the rent. So this is a good sign. So if this owner wants 3,000 a month, and I know, like I said, the formula is for your max maximum allowable offer on rent is, you want to be at least 25% times the market rent, right? So 390 times 0.25 is wait, 3,900 times 0.25 is 975. Oh, so I should do 0.75, sorry. So 3,900 times 0.75 is 2,9. You multiply that by 0.75, and then you're gonna get 25% off of the rent. So I know my max rent is 2,925, so he wants 3,000, so I'm already at a good close range, right? So the owner of this property wants 300,000 in price, and he wants 3,000 a month in rent. So I'm pretty close on my max allowable offer here and my max allowable offer on rent. So in this situation, I would, definitely try to meet the owner, definitely try to, if you're doing it virtually, try to get the deal locked up over the phone. But a good thing is to, if you are local, meet the owner. But that's how you get max allowable rent and max allowable price on the sandwich rent to own. And again, the real only reason that we need some spread in the rent and the price is because we're staying in the middle of the deal. So we need some equity and we need some cash flow when we're staying in the middle, right? And then the term, right? So the next thing we talked about is the term, how long. The goal is 3 to 5 years, I would say, or longer the better. If let's say that he agreed to 293 and 3,000 a month in cash flow, and we know for a fact that we got the ARV up here at 357 with a 0 rehab. And we're getting it for 293. So we're walking into 60 grand, 70 grand of equity, right? So we're walking into 57 minus 293, 57, 64,000 in equity in this deal, right? So there's 64K in equity, right? So would I do a 1-year lease? Would you do a 1-year lease on this deal? Of course, right? You have 64,000 in equity. Why wouldn't you do a 1-year term, right? So you can lock the deal up at 293, and then you can go ahead and list it on the market for 340, try to sell it faster, 345, and collect your equity, right? So this is a 3 to 5 year term, I say, but would you do this deal if it's only a 1-year, 2-year term? Yes, because there's tons of equity. There's almost $1,000 a month in cash flow. So of course, yes, I would do that, right? And again, negotiate, right? Let's say that he's your max level offers 293 and he's stuck at like 330, 340. Say instead of and then you negotiate the rent, try to get the rent down, right? He wants his price, okay, I want the rent down. He wants his terms, okay, I want the price down, right? So terms is going to be negotiable based upon the type of deal, right? The next thing we want to go over is down payment. So how do we negotiate down payment? Is of course we want to try to do 1 month's rent, or even 0 down. If you're good at negotiating, you can do that. That's great. We've done, you can do a deal with 2 months rent, right? If the numbers make sense. But what if the owner wants 10,000 down, right? And you have it like if this deal has 64,000 in equity and $1,000 in cash flow a month, is this something that you would invest 10,000 down in? I would say yeah, right? Worst case scenario is what we do sometimes is if we're going to do like a true sandwich rent to own, Sometimes we give the owner 50/50 of down payment, from the tenant buyer. So we're doing a true sandwich rent to own where we're getting a tenant buyer in and they're putting 10,000 down. Worst case scenario is maybe like a 50/50 profit split with them. But down payment, we always try to get 1 month's rent or even zero down. And the goal is how we negotiate that. As a hey, Mr. Seller, we don't, what we do is we bring in, we're gonna bring in, we're a company, we're a corporation, so we're not gonna live in it, so we're gonna have another uh, uh, person live in the home, and they pay us a fee for helping them find a property to live in that they can live in. So that we don't charge you, and we don't charge you a fee for our services, but we do charge a buyer a fee, like a down payment. Is that something you're okay with? He goes, yeah, that's fine. I just need, 1 month's rent. I just need 2 months rent or whatever we negotiate, right? But then again, that's kind of like the term, right? Would you do, like a one, if you had such a great deal, would you be willing to put up 10,000 down? It's all negotiable, right? Yes, sometimes, yeah, you would be willing to do that. Right, and then of course the repairs, like I said, 200, 300 a month, and then the rent credits, we try to get 10% of the rent credit. So this deal, how it would look is, here's the owner. Here's this is the price, the rent, the terms. So this deal is at 293. And then you're looking at what is the retail, right? So it's you, and what is retail? It's 353 over here. 353,000. The rent he wants is 3,000. Market rent is 29. Market rent is 3,900. The term he wants 1 to 2 years. And then you can give him 1 to 2 years as well, is fine. But your goal is to do something like this where you get 3 to 5 years, and then if you're going to do a rent on to someone else, you give them 1 to 2 years, giving you that time that you can more time just in case you need to find another buyer for the deal. Down payment, let's say he wants 1 month down, so he wants 3,000 down, and then you're trying to get 10,000 down from when you're trying to sell it to a tenant buyer. Repairs, the owner agrees to do anything over, the owner takes care of 200 a month. And then anything under 200 a month, the tenant buyer takes care of it. And then the credit, the rent credit, try to get 10%. Again, that's negotiable. If you can get 100% rent credit, you just got a 0% mortgage. So that's great for you. But again, that's negotiable on the rent credit. How much a percentage of the rent goes towards the purchase price, right? So if you can get like a 50% rent credit, something really high like that, every time I pay $3,000 a month, 1,500 pays down the principal. So that's going to pay principal down really fast, right? So if you were to do like a true sandwich rent to own on this deal, there would be 64K of equity. There would be about 900 a month in cash flow every single month. And you'll get $7,000 up front from the tenant buyer. And you'd be taking care of zero of the repairs. And you can also potentially get an extra, 300 a month from the rent credit. This is per month, like every month, right? And that's if you were to do like a true sandwich rent zone, you could profit. Let's say that you had 64,900 a month in cash flow times, just say 24 months. Well, it's actually 1,200 a month times 24 months because of the rent credit, plus 64,000 plus the $7,000 down payment. So this deal would be close to like a $99,800 profit total over the course of like 2 years, right? But then you can also, maybe you're someone that doesn't want to wait, 1 to 2 years to get your equity out. You don't want to put another sandwich rent to own, or you don't want to put a rent to own buyer in the property. You just want to list it right away. So we can just list this thing on the market for, maybe you want to list it for 350 as soon as you get the contract signed. So right away, you can make that 50, close to 60,000 in equity right away. Just list it, leave it vacant, try to sell it right away. Let's say that you can turn this into an Airbnb, right? Let's say that you can turn this property to Airbnb. You realize like, hey, 1,300 a month per unit. I can make, let's say you can make an Airbnb. I'm gonna go over how to comp Airbnbs in a few weeks, but Airbnb, you just go on Airbnb, pretend you're a guest, pretend you're about to book a property in the same area, same location, same beds and baths, and then you're gonna see how much you can get per night. So let's say that, you're able to get, instead of 3,000 a month, you're able to get 6,000 per month, right? So this may make sense to invest money into furniture, money into the first month's rent security deposit, because you're going to be making, if you got the owner at 3,000 a month and Airbnb is making 6, you're making $3,000 per month cash flow, and your goal is maybe to hold on to this, for maybe 5 years or even longer, or as long as you can, and then eventually sell it when it appreciates. Maybe it appreciates to 400, 425, for, however amount it appreciates to, and then you can sell it 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line. And what's cool is that you can do this, if you really want to sell it, you need to sell it now, you want to get your equity out, you can do this at the same time, where it's making $3,000 a month, and at the same time it's listed for sale, because Airbnb, they check in and check out. So you can still do showings, you can still show the property, you can still get the property sold while it's on Airbnb and listed at the same time. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot that you can do with sandwich rent to own. It's just like you own the house, right? You can list it, you can Airbnb it, you can sandwich rent to own it. There's just so many different things that you can do with this strategy. So that's how we comp the property live. So if anyone has any questions, let me know if there's any questions. Let me see. No questions, just good. So I mean, we have this is a way that, how do you find these leads? A lot of them are like Zillow for rent, Craigslist for rent, Facebook Marketplace for rent. A lot of them can come through your marketing. If you're already doing marketing, you make a cash offer. Okay, that didn't work. Let's make a sandwich rent to own offer. So that maybe that will work, right? So what we do like to do is like we treat every lead the same. We make a cash offer. We make a So that's a sandwich rent to own offer. If anyone has any questions about the formula, about how that works, just let me know. And again, like a lot of it is going to be, a lot of it, you can, if like for example, this deal, let's say that he wanted full price in the rent. He wanted 3,900. So there's no cash flow in the rent. In that case, but there was tons of equity, right? So I would still probably do the sandwich rent to own even if there was nothing in the middle, because I have so much equity. And instead of trying to cash flow it, I would just list it right away instead of trying to get a monthly cash flow, right? So that's a sandwich rent to own offer. We're gonna end here in Proverbs chapter 24. I think we left off on verse 19. So we're gonna hear Proverbs because wisdom from God, I think, is the best wisdom for your business. So, this is what I use in my business to succeed. So why not use it in your own business? So Proverbs chapter 24, it says, do not fret because of evildoers or being envious of the wicked, for the evildoer has no future, has no hope, and the lamp of the wicked will be snuffed out. So when you see other people in business cheating, lying, stealing to get ahead, guess what? Don't worry about them. It says they have no future, they have no hope. Eventually, they're going to get caught. Eventually, maybe you see them succeeding 3, 4, 5, even 10 years down the line. Eventually, that foundation will topple. So don't worry. God always says, hey, don't worry about, don't look at what they're doing. Focus on you, right? Focus on how can I glorify God in my business and what I'm doing, right? It says, fear the Lord and the king, my son, do not join the rebellious officials. So in the parentheses is just like notes I added. It's not, it's notes that I added myself. So follow God in your business and you'll prosper, right? So God's saying, fear me, fear the king, fear my son, do not join the rebellious forces. Follow God in your business. He's going to take care of it. He's going to prosper it. For those two will send sudden destruction on them. Who knows what calamities they can bring? Eventually, those people you are jealous of will fall because their business is not built on the kingdom foundation, is not built on following God's wisdom in their business. So no matter what other people are doing in their business, like for me, I'd follow people, I'll pay for their courses, and then I would just, you know, blindly just follow everything they say, even though it teaches us to lie, to cheat, to get ahead. And you shouldn't do that. You should take everything with a kingdom lens. Say, hey, I can't do that because that's against what God's telling me to do. So I'm not going to do that, right? So that's what we need to do. We need to take everything as look through everything as a kingdom lens and see, hey, is this correct or is this not? These are also the sayings of the wise, to show partiality and judging is not good. Whoever says to the guilty, you are innocent, will be cursed by peoples and denounced by the nation. So do not deceive others in your business, right? Don't be a deceiver in your business. Don't, like I said, by a lot of these gurus were taught to, especially in wholesaling, to go around and say that you are, even though if you have no intent of purchasing the home, go around and tell go around and lie to everyone and say, yeah, I'm the buyer, I'm purchasing the home, I have the cash, and they're deceiving everybody, and it's going against the kingdom of God, the foundation of God in your business. So first is foundation of the kingdom, and then everything else is second. You can't get off of the foundation of the kingdom. But it will go well with those who convict the guilty, and rich blessing will come on them. An honest answer is like a kiss on the lips. So always be honest. If you have no intent to purchase the home, be honest. If because of your honesty you don't get the deal, that is okay. So it is better to lose a deal than go against God. So it's better that hey, like let's say that you have a deal and the owner's saying, I don't want to deal with any wholesalers, but if you're an actual buyer, we can move forward. And you have no intent to purchase it. You don't even have the cash, the funds, and you just lie to them and say, yeah, I am going to purchase it myself. So what we do is we just say, hey, listen, we help investors acquire properties. We have investors buying 10, sometimes 20 properties a month in certain areas. And what we do is we help them find great deals, and they pay us a fee for finding them the deal. So, and that's how we approach owners and how we present ourselves. And then, if the owner's not okay doing business with you because of that, because you're not the direct end buyer and you have no intent of purchasing it, then that's fine. Let the deal go, and maybe and then find another deal. But don't lie and lie to people, deceive people, and then you have no intent, and then all of a sudden, I've seen a lot of wholesalers where they get the property under contract, they say they're the buyer, they're going to close in 2 weeks, and then the seller moves out of the house and takes all their stuff and moves to another state, and then the whole other wholesaler just leaves them high and dry with an empty property, and they never had any intent of purchasing the home, right? So be honest, be trustworthy in your business, have integrity. Put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready after that. Build your house. So prepare, plan, have a vision, know where you're going, right? So without a vision, it says, my people perish. So you should have a plan, know what you're doing every day, how many offers I'm making every day, how much money do I want to make at the end of the year? What's your plan? What's your vision? How are you going to get there, right? So, without a purpose, without a vision, without a plan, you don't, there's nowhere, you're going nowhere, right? You're just drifting. So you should always have a plan, a purpose. And what's good about having a plan, a purpose, a vision is that you're always going to know what to say no to. You're always going to know what to say yes to. You're always going to know what books to read, what courses to study. You're always going to know what meeting to go to, what meeting you shouldn't go to. So, write down your plan, your vision, your purpose, and where you want to go. And then you want to focus all your decisions on that. Hey, is this part of my plan? Is this part of my vision, right? Like someone called me and said, hey, I want you to get into the stock market thing. I'm making a lot of money. I'm like, no, man, that's not my plan. That's not my vision. I have no vision for that, right? So I know what to say no to, right? So if you know what to say no to, you're not going to waste any time, right? And a lot of, what I see a lot is just people jumping from thing to thing to thing and never committing to one thing and having a plan for that. Do not testify against your neighbor without cause. Would you use your lips to mislead? Do not say, I'll do to them as they have done to me. I'll pay them back for what they did. So do not ever try to get revenge. Give it to God, right? Someone stole money from you. What I do in that situation is I tithe it. I say, hey, God, I'm going to let this go. This guy just stole, 5,000, 10,000 from me. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to give it to them as a tithe. Like God bless my tithe and let it go and give it to God. And once you do that, it's like you never, think about it again. Like, you just let $10,000 go. You gave it as a tithe. And just doing things like this and letting God get the revenge, it just gives you peace, right? And that's what you want. You want peace, peace in your business, peace in your mind, and that's gonna better for your health, better for your business, better for you, your focus, your clarity, and everything you do. So I went past the field of a sluggard, past the vineyard of someone who has no sense. So don't be a sluggard, don't be someone who has no sense. It says the thorns had come up everywhere, the ground was covered with weeds, and the stone wall was in ruins. So the lazy that don't do anything will always lead a life against God's will. God wants you to work. God wants you to put in the work. He wants you to have a vision, know where you're going, know your purpose, and work. He doesn't want you to be a sluggard, to be lazy. He wants you to, like I said, if you decide to be lazy and not do anything, you're basically going against God's will for your life. I applied my heart to what I observed and learned a lesson from what I saw. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, scarcity like an armed man. So don't be lazy. Find your purpose, find your vision, find what makes you passionate, find what work is something that you love to do. And that's when you start finding fulfillment in your life, right? Like for me, it's just like real estate and studying the Bible, studying the kingdom of God, studying the wisdom of God. Those are like two favorite things to do. So it's just like, hey, this is like, this is not work for me. This is my purpose, this is my vision. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what makes me passionate. This is what I love to do. So once you find something you're passionate about, something you love to do, it doesn't even feel like work anymore, right? You just want to do it. And that's what you should be looking for in your business, like the business that you're working on, right? So I'm assuming a lot of you guys listening, you seem that real estate is maybe a passion that you want to do. So that's something you should focus on, commit to it, put the blinders on, commit to it, right? Stop jumping from thing to thing to thing. So I hope you guys got a lot out of today. I'm gonna end in prayer. Just want to pray for everyone on everyone listening to the replay. And I record these so you guys can watch them at any time. And just to pass it on, to give, to be generous, to help other people that need it. So just want to in prayer, just want to thank God for all his blessings. Thank him for this internet technology, for Wi-Fi, for Facebook, for the Facebook groups, and that we can just communicate through. It's just amazing, all the technology that we have today. I just want to thank God for, blessing me with knowledge and wisdom that, I can help other people and be generous and give. And I just hope that this training today, someone maybe hope maybe just one person picks it up, and one or two, or even everyone listening picks it up and just uses it just to get maybe one deal a month, or one deal a month, and they just pick up these cash flowing Airbnbs or rent to owns every single month for the next 12 months. So we just pray that, and we pray for prosperity in your businesses. We pray for debt-free businesses that are prospering, so that we can be a blessing to other people and give and be generous, because that's what we're supposed to be doing, is helping our neighbors, helping strangers, helping our neighbors, helping our neighbors come up with our gifts, our resources, our talents, or skills. We're supposed to be using these things to help other people. So that's what I'm doing here. And I pray that you guys get this and use it, and it comes in your business to help you earn an extra 20%, 30%, or even 100% in revenue in the next 12 months. So God bless everyone. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me. And sandwich rent to own deals, if you guys get a deal with an owner and they want to do this type of strategy, send it to us. We can help you out. Of course, we're going to want to partner with you on the deal, and we can partner on Airbnb, we can partner on sandwich rent to own. So if you guys need help walking through some these type of deals, you can reach out to us. My phone number, email were in the beginning. You can reach out to me via direct message on Facebook as well. So God bless. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week, and the members, we'll see you guys tomorrow night at 7 p.m.